Hello and welcome to another episode of Go Ballistic here on the Scottish SunSport YouTube channel. And what a weekend it was in the Scottish Premiership. Twists, turns, drama, goals, red cards. It was one of those that really did have the lot, and with all said and done, Hearts are 8 points clear after beating Celtic. Some football actually broke out at Ibrox this week, and the chaos continues for Jimmy Thelin in Aberdeen. Plenty of drama, as I said, plenty of drama too, I think it's fair to say, in the Sky Sports studio yesterday, but Kris Boyd has thankfully emerged unscathed to join myself, Jonathon.
Always.
Boyd, plenty of drama in there. Have you calmed down a bit? Got a bit heated at times, didn't it?
Totally calmed down. I'm just fed up with Kris sticking up for everybody else apart from Brendan Rodgers, but however.
I'm sure we'll get on to Brendan Rodgers in just a moment. But first, Boydie, let's get on to Hearts. As I said, 8 points clear after beating Celtic 3-1 at Tynecastle yesterday. You predicted Hearts to win the game last week in this show, serenaded our viewers, a wee rendition of Hearts, glorious Hearts as well, and it was a glorious day for them. So,
yeah, question is, what you don't know is me and Roger had a separate bet after that, and if Hearts won, he had to sing it the following week. So take it away, Roger.
I don't remember that bet at all. No recollection of that.
No. No, listen, I think Hearts deserved a victory. We seen a team that was well organised, played some decent football. You wouldn't have thought that listening to Brendan Rodgers after the game, but there's one thing about Derek McInnes, his teams have got that graft and intensity. They will ask questions of you. They'll get it in the box. They'll make the opposition defend. Doesn't matter if you go long or not. Albeit, I don't think that any balls yesterday were long, aimless balls. I think they were into areas where they asked Celtic to defend, and they failed to do that. So, listen, I think for Hearts, it was a very, very good afternoon. Started the game really, really, really well. Had that period in between where you felt as if Celtic, well, it did get in top, got the equaliser, which was a lovely goal as well from Callum McGregor. Really nice move. Something that we've seen from Celtic over the years in terms of that crisp passing, movement, running off the ball. And you felt as if for the next 10, 15 minutes after that, Celtic, even though they had, a lot of players missing, that they were going to go and take the game to Hearts and come away with the 3 points. And that would have been a big statement because there was a lot of people expecting yesterday at Tynecastle just to turn up and win the game. So towards the end of that first half, Hearts had got themselves back in it. But I must say, Celtic, they kept the ball for a minute or two after half-time. But then Hearts got that second and third goal. And that was it done, to be fair. I don't think... Celtic had a couple of efforts, but I don't think they really asked much of the Hearts defence or goalkeeper. And for me, Hearts deserved the 3 points. And you look at the table now, Roger, we spoke about it last week in terms of Wednesday night is huge now for both clubs. Hearts St Mirren's got a couple of players suspended, so that'll play into Hearts' his hands as well. And then Hearts play Dundee at home next week. There's a real chance that Hearts could open up an 11-point gap here, and that would be huge.
But I said at the start, Boyd, I didn't think Hearts could win the league. I probably said that about Leicester 10 years ago as well. The one thing in Hearts' favour is that in previous seasons, Boyd, you could have seen Celtic or Rangers or both going on a big long run, 15, 20 games unbeaten. You can't really see that with either of them at the minute. Rangers, we'll go into them in a bit. They still stumble about. You wouldn't put bad money in a win at Easter Road on Wednesday night. And Celtic, because of the injuries, because of the loss of form, Maida still out, Iheanacho still out, Johnson's out for a period of time, Carter Vickers out for 5 months. That's bad enough. But you look at some of the performances yesterday, Hatate is falling off a cliff in terms of form. And the signings, Tierney did well.
Engels is the same, Roger.
Engels is the same. They don't strike you. That Brendan Rodgers team at the minute doesn't strike you as a team that's going to go 15 or 20 games unbeaten and turn up the heat on Hearts. So Hearts will drop points. It's an absolute racing certainty. Hearts will drop points. I'm not sure they'll drop any this week because, as you say, St Mirren have suspensions. They're out of form. They'll be looking to the semi-final on Saturday, and they should beat the Dundee at Tynecastle on Saturday. So it could well be 11 points clear on Saturday night. They will drop points, but I think we'll have a really good title race because you can't see either Celtic or Rangers smashing opponents week in, week out.
I think for Celtic right now, it seems to be like the way the COVID season was, just unravelling everything. There's questions being asked of more or less every single thing that's going on at Celtic. You look at the players that are underperforming, as you mentioned, a few of them there. Another one, Kieran Tierney. I mean, I don't know what has happened to him. He just doesn't look...
He had a good part of the goal. It was a nice cut by, but that might be his first assist since he's come back, boy.
But even Tanecki as well. I mean, people are raving about him. I think that's now 9 games, Roger. He scored against Partick Thistle. He hasn't had an assist.
Yeah.
So when you're looking to get players, and I mean, we touched on it last week. Daizen Maeda was Celtic's Player of the Year last year, and playing on that left-hand side, and everybody has a go at the recruitment. And I mean, Brendan Rodgers has the last say in every signing that comes into Celtic. I mean, Balikwisha just does not look as if he is at any level to contribute to Celtic going forward right now. Tanecki is a downgrade in what has been there in previous seasons, although he is still, his feet and he still looks bright and sharp enough. But at the same time, the numbers that the Celtic wingers were putting up in the past, he's nowhere near that. And then going back to the area, and I think Celtic's forward area got a lot of credit in the past, and rightly so. But a lot of that was down to, Carter Vickers obviously defended properly, Scales, Trusty, whoever it was in the back line. But a lot of that was down to their domination in the middle of the pitch. They were dominant in there. It just doesn't seem to be the same, Roger.
Yeah, there weren't as many questions being asked of the Celtic back four in the past, boy. They weren't having to defend the way they are now. Falkirk got home on Wednesday night. Falkirk have won back-to-back games and taken a point off Rangers. They're no mugs. They'll come and they'll play their game and they'll do what they do. You'd expect Celtic to win, but I'll be fascinated to see the team. Is Brendan Rodgers looking at the semi-final against Rangers on Sunday?
You can afford to, Roger.
Do Ralston and Trusty come in for Donovan and Murray? Does Johnny Kenny get another go up front? What does he do with that position in the right? Because James Forrest was the only substitute who he really gave credit to for his performance off the bench yesterday.
Wonder if even that as well, though, Roger, strange. I mean, I think when you look at James Forrest, he's the one that seems to, I'm not saying that he is at the level he was before, but he would go and eliminate a fullback, take them on, and get balls in the box. It doesn't seem to be happening anymore. For any Celtic's wide players, it's a case of they'll get to an area, they'll recycle it. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see James Forrest. I think if you go back to, was it last season or the season before, Brendan Rodgers told everyone he was still the best winger in the country. He was still the best winger that he had.
He might still be. He might still be, certainly at Celtic Park.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Is it going to go back to calling on Jamesy Forrest again to come in and actually rescue Celtic right now? Because I don't see a team here that, we speak about Rangers and that fear factor has totally gone from them. I don't see many teams looking at this Celtic team and thinking, I could be fearful going into this game here. And
that's what I mean. Both sides have an inability to put together a consistent run of wins that will put pressure on Hearts. So, yes, we all know Hearts will drop points. Of course they will. But, how long is it going to take the others to catch them if they go? And by the way, we're talking about 11-point gap. That's an 11-point gap over Celtic. The gap over Rangers will be even wider.
Yeah. No, I agree. But listen, I don't think there's no chance Rangers can win the league. They can get themselves back in. They can get themselves back into, pushing for second. But I can't. I mean, if you actually crunch the numbers together, I don't think that Rangers can get back into the league. As I said, it's too big a gap. And as you say, Roger, for them to get to a level to be able to, to close that gap, they're going to have to go on a run that is virtually impossible for this Rangers team to do.
Can you imagine Hearts winning? They need to build a statue of Derek McInnes next to Greyfriars Bobby.
To be fair to him, no. Listen, again, see, in a way though, Roger, I think in all seriousness, he was overlooked for the Rangers job. There's no doubt about that in the summer. Hearts looked at someone who they felt as if could take them to a level to challenge. Have they got the right man? Of course they have, because we said it, I don't know how many times we've said it on this show or elsewhere. Derek McInnes knows his way around Scottish football. He knows how to win games of football. And all of that put in together is pushing Hearts towards a level of consistency that is going to be very difficult to stop. It's going to be difficult. They've got a good balance within their team. When you look at them yesterday, they love to defend, and I think that's been something that with Derek McInnes' team over the years, they will defend. They'll get the balls forward. I listen to people say, "Oh, but wait till everybody changes and plays differently against Hearts and sitting in." That'll suit Derek. That'll suit him because everything. He'll put the ball in the box. So I said, it's there's managers who get the term of old-fashioned and out of date. Nobody cares. The only thing that matters is winning games of football. And
the best news for him as well is Stephen Presley did deal with the bottom six, Boyd. He said the last day of the season, Hearts can't go to Dens Park. It's brilliant.
Correct. That's it sorted. A few years ago, that I can't remember it. Can you? Did you do the match report?
No, I did not do the match report, but I can certainly remember it well.
Just checking.
Bill Leckie in his column in the paper today, comparing McInnes and Rodgers. Also, McInnes got the better of Rodgers yesterday. Bill Leckie making the point that certainly right now, McInnes is proving himself to be a better manager than Brendan Rodgers. Has he proved himself to be, at this moment in time, the best manager in Scotland?
Well, his team's top of the league, Jonathan. So that leads you to say yes. I mean, I think yesterday was only his 9th win against Celtic in 59 games as a manager. So he has a difficulty against Celtic, as have other managers. But he's the top man of the minute. And I'll be fascinated to see what happens. If Scotland do or don't qualify for the World Cup next summer, Steve Clarke's got a decision to make. He's spoken in the past about waiting and seeing about a contract extension at Hampden. He's spoken recently about ambitions maybe to take a club job again, Jonathan. So if the Scotland job becomes available sometime in the summer of 2026, the SFA would have to go to Derek McInnes, and then that gives him an issue.
Yeah, I mean, I think Derek right now is obviously loving life as a day-to-day manager. It can be, and it is different, managing a national team, and it's something that I've no doubt that will interest the SFA once Steve Clarke goes. But I'm not sure how quickly that will happen. But I mean, I don't think Derek would quit the day-to-day right now to go to the international scene, because he feels as if, and he knows he's got a good thing going with Hearts right now. They're going to, if it's not this year, you would imagine to go and sign players that allow them to kick on next year. And he feels as if, I mean, let's be realistic, Roger. I know we speak about it and we laugh and joke about it. It's a chance to make history. It's an unbelievable chance to make history. As I said, I don't think
the last guy to do this was Alec Ferguson, long before he was ever Sir Alec. 1985. Hearts should have done it in 86 and blew it in the last day at Dens when they lost 2 kids scored those 2 goals. It's 41 seasons since somebody's done this. I think, you were what, 2-year-old, 3-year-old at the time?
1983, I was born, August 1983, friend.
There you are. So you weren't even 2 the last time this was done. That tells you the scale of the historic achievement. I'm only half. I say they'll need to build a statue of Derek McInnes if Hearts win the league. This will be phenomenal. This will be comparable to Leicester winning the Premier League or anything else you've seen around the world. That little Mjällby team that won the Swedish League last week. This will be getting headlines not only in the Scottish Sun, not only in our Go Ballistic show. They'll be reporting this at all points of the world if Hearts win this.
And rightly so.
Boydie, also McInnes on top of the world just now, Brendan Rodgers not so. You were very critical of his post-match comments on the TV yesterday. Just more generally, that shield kind of all the anti-board anger coming from the stands seems to be weakening a wee bit. There's a lot more kind of focus coming on Brendan Rodgers and the job he's actually doing at the moment. How much blame do you pin on him specifically for the situation Celtic find themselves in at the moment?
Listen, I think the negativity from the fans towards the board doesn't help. I mean, there's no getting away from it. But at the same time, Celtic have still got enough players out there that can go and win games of football. When you look at the teams that they've dropped points to or been knocked out of Europe from, Kyrie Almaty, I mean, listen, let's be realistic. They're in the Champions League this year. I would be astonished if they're anywhere near it ever again. You then look at Celtic, if recent times go back to last week against Dundee, I mean, Tanecki would have cost more than what it cost to assemble that whole Dundee squad. So, I mean, I think that the shield of Brendan Rodgers has had of the fans on the board, I don't think it's there any longer. I think people are now looking into it, and that's why I thought yesterday that he's criticising the way that other teams are playing. Why you've then got to ask yourself is why is Kieran Tierney not at the level that he was before? Why is Hatate fell off a cliff, as Roger said earlier as well? Why is Engels nowhere near the level that you would expect from an £11 million signing? There is other players within that team that we've always seen Brendan Rodgers been able to get a tune out of them, make them into better players for a period of time. I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing it. What I am seeing is towards the end of that 2.5, 3 years of a Brendan Rodgers cycle, I'm seeing those things appear again. And we touched on it last week as well. Starting to do more interviews down the road. I think being calculated in what he's saying. Because last week, Roger, you go back to the car analogy, he never mentioned it on Sky, so he's obviously thought about it before he went to the press conference, and then churns out 2 cars, and then all of a sudden labels Celtic Range Rover Sports during the week. I mean, as a player, you'd be looking saying, and I know he then spins it, this group know that I've got full backing of him, this group know that I trust him, as he does. But as a player, you'd be sitting thinking to yourself, my manager has just more or less said, I am absolutely It's not right.
The problem they've got, boy, I looked at it yesterday when Shanklin scored the 3rd goal from the penalty to go 3-1. There's still over half an hour to play. In the past, you would have thought that Celtic team would have come roaring back. It's got a 3-3. They won 4-3 at Tynecastle last year when Greg Taylor scored, if you remember. At no stage yesterday did you feel Celtic were coming back into the game. You look at, you couldn't hang your hat in Tanecki. You couldn't hang your hat in Johnny Kenny, on Balak Wisha, on Nygren, on the young defenders, Donovan or Murray, because you haven't seen them being involved in a Celtic team that's done that kind of thing. He's short of players that he can actually look to who have got the experience to get them out of a hole. Callum McGregor tried to do it single-handedly. I thought he was outstanding yesterday, actually. He took his goal really well and he tried to drag everybody along with him. And you wonder now, the guys round about him, they either don't have the quality to go with him or they're really, really struggling to get any form. The likes of, you've seen Hatate do it in the past, but he's not doing it just now. Engels did it briefly last season. He's not doing it now. Forrest, you're only getting glimpses of him off the bench. There is no Taylor anymore. There is no Maida because of injury, Jota because of injury, Johnson because of injury, Carter Vickers because of injury. They're, to use a car analogy, Boydie, they're running in fumes.
Yeah, no, I agree. And by the way, there's another one as well. I mean, he starts Yang against Dundee, whips him off after 45 minutes and not been seen since. And then criticises the group in terms of the players. I mean, I don't know. There's obviously... Yang
won't do. Yang won't do. He's not as good as Forrest.
He won't do. He was deemed good enough a week ago to start a game of football. Now he's not even been seen. I think that there is... Brendan can tell us all that he's got full trust in this group and they'll be able to do it. You can't help but think that Brendan's mind's elsewhere, looking at the next job, trying to find a way for this to end, to move on, because some of the things he's been saying is just baffling. And as I said, it replicates what he was up to the last time. It replicates what he's done at previous clubs leaving. So. I mean, Roger, I don't know what you think, but if Rangers have to knock Celtic out next week and Celtic are sitting 11 points behind Hearts at that stage, does there come a time where the Celtic hierarchy then look at it and say, we have to find a new manager?
I think the semi-final's big. The semi-final's really, really big. You would have thought the semi-final would have been bigger for Rangers. But now we're almost getting to a situation where the semi-final is bigger for Celtic because, it's a bit like, the Rangers season already has unravelled. They've already had to get rid of Russell Martin. They've already had to bring in Danny Rohl. They've already had lots of turmoil on and off the pitch. Yeah. you know, Celtic, if Celtic were to lose the semi-final on Sunday afternoon, it would really be, you know, a cause of major scrutiny for Brendan Rodgers, major scrutiny for that squad. And it'll be interesting to see how they would react to that. You know what? If Celtic win the game, Rangers won't react in any way. They've already made their changes. They've got Danny, they've got the new project, they've got the new plan, they know what they need to do. If they were to, what a tonic it would be for Danny Rohl. And you couldn't rule out them winning. You saw how poor the two teams were when they met at Ibrox. If the two of them are that poor, and there's a fair chance they will be this Sunday, it's a kind of thing that could go any way. You know, it could be one in more Sunday, it could be one in a strange decision. It could go all the way to penalty kicks, quite conceivably, Boydie.
I agree.
I've always kind of looked at it as being bigger for Rangers. I actually think maybe bigger for Celtic now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think because Rangers have been so poor, as you say, change of manager as well, but there is no doubt that Celtic are heading into that territory when they're going to have to ask questions of the manager if they have, as I said, they find themselves 11 points behind Hearts on Saturday night, and then get knocked out of the League Cup on Sunday. But we all know as well, Roger, that winning an Old Firm game can paper over the cracks. You're then looking at going forward there. So it's interesting times. It's interesting times. I think for Brendan Rodgers and Celtic, but as it stands right now, they're going to have to find a way to get themselves back into a title race, because if they don't, then for me, I think there would be there has to be a change in the dugout.
Well, that huge game coming up on Sunday. Rangers facing just their second league win of the season yesterday, beating Kilmarnock 3-1 at Ibrox. Obviously far from the finished article, just a second game for Danny Rohl, but he's got that first win on the board. Roger, have you seen signs already that maybe he can do something with this group of players after all?
No.
No?
No, that's unfair. They won the game yesterday. It's all you can ask them to do. He had a little tweak. He went to a 3 at the back. It allows him to get 2 strikers in. I wonder if you would see Jerry Gassama at right wing back in a League Cup semi-final against Celtic. That may be a different kettle of fish altogether. But they won the game. They got themselves ahead with a decent set piece, and they reacted positively from the setback of the equaliser. Jack Butland has made a fist of it by not getting his fist to it and allowed George Stanger to equalise. Previously, they wouldn't have reacted particularly well to that, and it might have been 1-1. They might even have lost the game, but they came out and they reacted better in the second half. I thought Danilo took his goal well back in the team. Chermiti, with the help of Eddie Beach and not a great save, Chermiti got his goal. So that will boost confidence in the 2 strikers. And listen, they looked a little bit better. And fair play to Danny Rohl. He didn't make a big thing of it. He spoke about baby steps going forward, and that's the first baby step. He's probably looked at what's coming ahead, Jonathon. On form Hibs at Easter Road on Wednesday, Celtic in a semi-final at Hampden on Sunday, and then a next European game against Roma. So he probably doesn't want to get expectations too high. He knows the gravity of those games. He knows the quality of the opposition. But you would normally say Rangers need to go to Easter Road and win. I think if Danny Rohl can avoid defeat at Easter Road, he'll be in a good place. If he can win the semi-final, what a fill-up that would be for the whole place.
For sure. Boyd, how impressed have you been with Danny Rohl? That's a week he's obviously been in the job now. The tough night in Norway, but they've obviously battled back to win.
I don't think we can get carried away. I think when Rodgers summed it up perfectly there. When you look at, Thursday night was as bad as I've seen in Europe. It was really, really, really poor. Didn't have a lot of time to work with the players. You then fast forward to yesterday. Look, was it a game that you would expect Rangers to win at home against Kilmarnock? Yeah, you would. There is no doubt in that. But because of what has been churned up at Ibrox in recent weeks in league games, then there was questions about can Kilmarnock go there and be the next team to take something off of Rangers? Listen, I think as Roger touched on there, the change of formation allowed for there to be bodies around Miovski. But then, you look at, there's a good ball in for Cornelius' goal as well. So listen, I think that Rangers will be happy enough with the result. And, at this moment in time, it's a case of win a game, see where that takes you. You then move forward to to Wednesday night, which will be tough. A great result for Hibs yesterday as well. One that you felt as if they had to go and win because of Aberdeen coming off of Europe. David Gray has got his team, motoring again as well. So I think for Rangers' point of view, I know it's the old manager cliche. The players say the exact same. It's game at a time. They took care of Kilmarnock. They will move forward to Easter Road. They won't want another setback, but they're going to need players to perform at a level that we haven't seen in recent weeks. There's no getting away from it. I mean, there might be some decent players in there, but they are underperforming. Jack Butland obviously made the mistake yesterday, but I must say, Roger, what a fantastic header save it was from the head. I think was it Bruce Anderson at the back post?
Yeah.
And that was at a crucial time as well. It was a really, really, really good save there. So, so he's bounced back from his mistake, but a lot of the Rangers players, it's okay doing it for the 90 minutes or the period of time they're on. Can you go again on Wednesday night? Can you go to Easter Road and get the 3 points? It's a big challenge ahead of them. Which will then set Rangers up for that semi-final. But there's still a lot of questions regarding this Rangers team. And as I said, Roger summed it up perfectly. I don't think you can because of a 3-1 victory against Kilmarnock at home feel as if Danny Rohl is now on a roll.
I see what you did there.
Not seen that one before, haven't we, since he was appointed last week. Obviously, Hibs get into that game on Wednesday off the back of that win at Pittodrie. A bit of a bogey ground for them, so a big win for them.
They're good. I saw them put 4 past Livingston last week, and they've gone up there. They should have put 4 past Aberdeen. It looked like 3-0 until Josh Campbell's goal just Lazatic makes it 2-1. They will cause Rangers problems. They're more used to the 3-5-2 system that they play. Grant Hanley has been a very astute signing in the middle of that back three. He strolled it at Pittodrie yesterday. Daniel Barlasser in the middle of the park adds something as well. And Thibault Clegy, 2 starts, 2 goals. If you're paying £1 million in your Hibs, that's the kind of return you need.
Yeah.
He will cause problems for the Rangers defence on Wednesday night. I'll just be interested to see the 2 games he's played. They've done the little and large thing. They've played him with Kieran Bowie and him. Boyle looked good when he came off the bench and should have played yesterday. You wonder if David Gray's considering Clegy and Boyle just with the sheer pace the 2 of them have got against that Rangers defence.
Seen the problems Boyle's caused for Rangers pretty much every time they play them. So you'd have to think he's probably going to come back in. Boydie, Hibs obviously winning that game. A terrible, terrible week again for Aberdeen. Justin, it looked like they might have turned a little bit of a corner. They go and lose 6-0 in Europe, then that game against Hibs. Fans, a lot of them have made their minds up, and Jimmy Thelin, a few had done even before this past week. Does it start to feel a bit end of days now for Jimmy Thelin at Pittodrie, in your opinion?
Well, listen, I think when you go back to a few weeks ago and beating Dundee 4-0, then going to St Mirren and getting the 3 points late on, you felt as if, I've said it before, Aberdeen have built the back Jimmy Thelin to the hilt. The squad, it must be as big a squad as I've ever had. It must be the most expensive squad they've ever had. And you felt as if then, okay, maybe a chance Europe was going to be a step too far, but in terms of the league. But the trends that have been here for a number of years now, our team struggle when they come back from Europe, showed up again on Sunday. You've got to give David Gray and Hibs a lot of credit because, as you say, it's been a bogey ground for Hibs. They must have felt, Roger, yesterday that it was a must 3 points because of the way that Aberdeen had played on Thursday night, the way that Aberdeen have been. But it's never easy going to Pittodrie. Aberdeen had a few chances in the game, but I don't think Hibs looked under any pressure for a period of time.
And Boydie, that's the thing that we do for Jimmy Thelin, because if you remember, when you always compare Aberdeen to Hibs and Hearts, and at the minute Hearts are running away at the top of the league, and Hibs have just gone to Pittodrie and spanked them. Yeah. And Dave Cormack had that look about him yesterday that he had the week after Darvel. If you remember, they gave Jim Goodwin a bit more time after Darvel. There was 5-0 to Hearts and 6-0 to Hibs, and he went. And, you know, Jimmy Thelin takes them to Kilmarnock now on Wednesday night. He doesn't play at the weekend because of the League Cup semi-finals, so he's got an 8-day build-up before they go to Cyprus to take on an 80 Kilmarnock team that just beat Crystal Palace at Selhurst Park.
Yeah.
So it doesn't get any easier for Jimmy Thelin. He's got awkward games coming after that. I think that Armenian side, Noah, come to Pittodrie. Strasbourg, come to Pittodrie. Hearts go to Pittodrie in the month of November.
I would be astonished if Jimmy Thelin doesn't, even on Wednesday night, if they don't bounce back from, as you say, the performance on Thursday. I mean, listen, it was 6. It could quite easily have been double figures at half time. That's how bad it was. You then look at the performance yesterday to cut Aberdeen some slack. You know, we've seen it with teams struggling in the past after Europe. So you can't, you know, because it's Aberdeen, we can't then turn around and say, no, but they should be winning these games. Hibs are a difficult team to play against. They'll cause you problems. But for Jimmy Thelin and Aberdeen, it's now getting to the stage where you're saying one more defeat could be the end.
It's also that look, Boyd.
Yeah.
It looks as if he puts the names in a hat at 2:30 because
Roger,
you don't know who's playing, where they're playing, when they're playing.
Roger, that's another thing as well. You're more or less
time, another 2.
Yeah, but you're highlighting the fact that your starting 11 isn't. How many times did Jimmy Thelin go to his bench at half time? 3 substitutions again yesterday. You're more or less highlighting the fact that the team that you started wasn't good enough. You know, and it's change after change after change. And I know, listen, he might point to the fact that, you know, the numbers and statistics will tell you that, oh, this is what I had to do. Sports science might be. Listen, I don't know. But at the end of the day, as a manager, when you keep going to your bench and making so many changes at half time, people have then got to question, was it the correct starting 11 that started the game? I'm not so sure. Listen, I think you go back to the start of last season, he was doing it. The substitutes had an impact, but you can't keep doing the same thing week after week and not be questioned. As I said, Aberdeen, they had, you know, Dundee game and the St Mirren, albeit down to 10 men. What was it, 96 minutes? A fantastic piece of individual skill to win that game as well. I just don't look at Aberdeen and think, as a team, they're functioning, creating opportunities, working as a team. It seems to be as individuals. And for me, I can only see one outcome. I've been saying it for long enough now. They are in the territory of one more defeat could spell the end for Jimmy Thelin.
Just 3 wins in 15 games in all competitions this season, and as you said, Roger, very tricky trip for them on Wednesday going to Killie. That's for
sure. Again, Kilmarnock will win a reaction. They've had a couple of sore wins, you know, losing at Ibrox yesterday. They've been the sort of authors of their own downfall, if you like. Some of the defensive mistakes against Hearts, giving the ball away cheaply. They gave it away cheaply to Chermiti for the 3rd goal yesterday. So I think Stuart Kettlewell will want to get them back in and get a reaction against Aberdeen.
That, of course, one of 5 big midweek games this week before the League Cup semi takes centre stage at the weekend. Is it a trip to Easter Road for yourself, Boyd, midweek?
Sure is. I'll be through on Wednesday. I look forward to it, to be fair. I think, you know, it's always a great place to go and watch the football. I think, as we touched on there regarding Rangers, it's another challenge for them. This Hibs team have, you know, the European. They come out of European football with a lot of credit without actually winning games. They've maybe had a stuttering start to the start of the season, shall we say? But you're now looking at it saying that, you know, I don't know about you, Roger, but are Hibs favourites going into this game?
Probably, yeah.
And you know, so for Rangers, they're going to have to go through there and put on a performance and find a level, as we touched on earlier there, Jonathon, find a level that we haven't seen from Rangers this year. Because if you're going to leave Easter Road with 3 points, you need to play well. And I'll be interested to see what starting lineup Danny Rohl picks as well, because of, you know, you said you've got Wednesday, you've then got the semi-final, which is huge for him. As Hibs are more accustomed to that 3-5-2. I know Rangers were more or less like a 3-4-2 behind Miovski yesterday. So I'll be interested to see, you know, what way Danny Rohl attacks the game, because, you know, I know you have to win every game, and Rangers will be looking to say, can we get ourselves back into a position where we can challenge at the top end of the table? But because of what's on the horizon for Rangers, you know, you feel as if Sunday is going to be massive for Danny Rohl. And being able to take this team forward, if they can get past Celtic and find the belief that, you know, we're in he'll then say we're in a final. Can we then start to build up, you know, confidence, get results, and see where it takes them? But no, I'm really looking forward to Wednesday night. It is always, as I said, a great place to go and play and watch. So I'm sure we'll be in for a cracker.
Just remember that wee filling station up the road. Stop in and get a couple of packets of sweeties. You can kiss and make up with Kris Sutton.
No, listen, the big man's fine. The big man's fine. Don't worry about him. I'll give him a cuddle.
Always like those games to get out of the way Wednesday first, but is anyone want to chuck in any predictions for the League Cup semis this weekend at this stage?
Well, I think both games could go all the way. Motherwell got a morale-boosting win at Livy. St Mirren are now back-to-back defeats. St Alec Gogic sent off. I was at Tannadice on Saturday. It is a clash of contrasting styles. I'm not going to criticise either of them because they've served both teams well. Yeah. It'll be fascinating to see. In here, it's Bill Leckie and Robert Grieve against Kenny MacDonald and Andy Devlin. There is so much banter going on about that semi-final. You couldn't really split them in. And it's the same on Sunday. You would think Celtic...
I take it the banter's on the phone, Roger, because they'll never run out of work.
Sunday, Celtic will go in as favourites. You could not rule out Rangers just because of everything we've spoken about in the last few minutes.
2-0 Motherwell, 1-0 Rangers.
There you are.
There it is. And I think on that note, I think we can probably leave it there. Plenty more build-up coming up to those big games. There'll be a special one-on-one coming up with Derek McInnes this week. Look out for that. As well as a set piece, of course, on Wednesday. And we'll be back here next Monday, as always, to look back at what's sure to be a dramatic weekend at Hampden. We shall catch you then.